Did you not record last
Yeah, it is. Okay. Welcome, everybody. Let's give an introduction to everybody that's in as our Q&A guests. So, Mariana, would you like to start?
Sure. Hi, everyone. I'm Mariana Sternfeld. I am a fifth-year software engineering student here at RIT. I graduate, I guess, in like 2 weeks. That's pretty exciting. What else should we do in the intro?
Where you're going to end up.
Okay. Well, originally I'm from Montague, New Jersey, a very northwestern town in the state, and I'm going to be working at Microsoft full-time in Raleigh, North Carolina.
Okay. Kelsey?
Hi, I'm Kelsey Dunn. I'm a fourth-year computer science student. I forgot what else I'm supposed to say.
Where you're from. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm from Prince George, Virginia, so that's like Southern Virginia, pretty much. And I am going on co-op in like 3 weeks from now, so that'll be exciting. I'll be working from home. So
Nice. Laura?
Yeah. Hi, I'm Laura. I'm a fifth-year BSMS computing security student. I am from Long Island, which is fun. And I didn't actually finish my interview process because it's been delayed by coronavirus. So I hope that it continues by like July, but I'll end up by the DC area. So.
Nice. Thea?
Hi, I'm Theo. I'm a fifth-year BSMS in CS, and I'm going to be graduating hopefully in 2 weeks as well. We'll see how that goes. My capstone is giving me some issues, but whatever. I'm from downstate, like 4 hours in this place called Otisville. No one generally knows where it is, but that's okay. And I'm going to be starting at Intuit theoretically in June, maybe.
Awesome. For those who don't know me, I'm Jackie Leung. I'm a second-year software engineering major. I am currently the logistics head, but next year I'll be allies. And yeah. And then Mal, do you want to give an introduction? Sorry, you're right in between eating.
Okay, so I'm Mallory. I'm a second-year software engineering student, and I'm currently the outreach co-committee head. But next semester, I'll be on co-op, so I won't be.
Emily?
Sorry, I had to take myself off mute. I'm Emily. I'm the other outreach co-head. I'm also a second-year software engineering student, and next semester, just in the fall, I will be logistics for WiC.
Yeah. Okay. Welcome everybody. We're getting so many people, and let's start off with you guys. Do you all have any questions? Somebody, please feel free to message in the chat if you have any questions. We will get to them, or unmute yourself and ask a question. If you don't, then I will start us off. Anybody? No? Okay, let's start off with for our seniors and upperclassmen, what advice would you give to your high school senior self that's going to go to RIT?
All right. I guess I'll start since I started the introductions. So I know for me, my parents were very big on like, hey, take every single opportunity you can, join every single club you can, do every single little thing you can. And for me, as a person who takes that to heart, I was very overwhelmed, I think, my first couple of weeks, because I thought that I had to do every single thing and join every club and then do this and that. But in the reality is like, I probably would have told myself like, hey, well, that's a great thought. It's a good idea to try a lot of new things in the beginning, but then decide which ones you think are better off, like suited for you in the end. Like, I think I joined like a bunch of different like academic style clubs. And then I realized that like, hey, a lot of them have the same goal. Just find the one that I think you're the most comfortable with and to help you forward on your career.
Solid. Yeah. I would agree on the whole trying everything and then narrowing it down after like 2 weeks. Um, but I'm really big on sports and hanging out with friends. So like I think my biggest advice to myself would be don't forget about having fun, because there's a lot of pressure that goes on between classes and join this club, like go to this career fair, and like it can be a lot of pressure, and like find a way to relieve the stress. So like my way was sports. And like I showed up to juggling club a few times my first semester. So just like finding that happy medium between like school and fun.
A big thing for sorry.
You can go.
Yeah, go ahead.
Cool. I'm trying my list. For me, I was always one of those kinds of people who like I really was obsessed with getting like super good grades, and I kind of defined my self-worth for a really long time. So like it's really good to do good in school, but also like don't get stressed out to the point that like your self-esteem is based on how well you do in college. Please enjoy yourselves. Do not only like dedicate yourself in your room to studying, and just have fun. And don't freak out if you maybe get like a B in a class, because that would have ruined me when I was a freshman.
Kelsey?
For me, freshman year, I had like really, really bad like imposter syndrome. So I spent like a lot of the year trying to like prove to myself and my family that I could do what I said I wanted to do. So I think I would just, if I could go back, I would say like, just don't worry so much about everything. Like you're here for a reason. Like if you're accepted here for a reason. So enjoy yourself and don't worry about everything so much.
Kelsey, you're kind of cutting out. Is anybody else getting her cutting out?
Yeah, Kelsey, I would try to actually get rid of your camera and see if that helps your microphone.
If it doesn't, we can have you answer things inside the chat.
Does this help at all?
Yeah, to me. Does it help other people?
Did this help at all?
Yeah.
Less packets.
There's some questions in the chat. How hard is it to keep a high GPA first year? What are some tips to do so? I know Theo, you already talked about how it's not, don't stress over it, but does anybody have how hard it is and what are any tips?
I'd like to go first. So I came in really big on my GPA as well. But it was a great feeling my freshman semester when I did get a first B, because then it kind of set the expectation a little bit off of me, being like, I don't have to maintain a 4.0. Like my first semester, I think I still had a 3.9. Like it was 1B, like it wasn't a big deal, but like it kind of took pressure off. But really keeping high on first semester is like making sure you're actually doing your assignments, because the professors are there to help you. The only way that you're not going to like do great in your CS classes, in my opinion, is if you start the homework on the last day or don't do it at all, because they do set it up in a way that like you kind of have to start it in class, and like the tutor center is very available, just not the day that it's due.
Yeah, I think that's definitely some good advice. I know I was on the honors floor my freshman year, but I wasn't in honors. So it was really interesting to see, I guess, the differentiation between the mindsets, especially from someone who wasn't in the honors program and versus everyone that was. I know I went in my freshman year. I went to a very rigorous high school, so I kind of had that freak out my first year of high school instead of my first year of college. And I think for those of you who are used to having all A's in high school, it will be a transition, but you have to remember that you can't compare yourself to other people who necessarily like learned how to either study, because I know some of, like, it's really difficult to try to figure out how is your best way to study. Do you need to go to the library? Do you need to do this? And I think, as Laura said, like, getting a B or even a C in your first semester, like, that's totally, like, expected. You're going through a lot emotionally, socially, and academically, because it's very different to either learn how to study on your own or learn like this. And I think the best thing to do is not to compare yourself to the other people, either on your floor or like you're in your friend group, because we all handle things very differently. And if you didn't have your freak out session or your way of figuring, I guess the best way to call it is your way of figuring out how you yourself learn to study early on, it's going to happen when you're in college.
Yeah, it's also just important to know how to like take advantage of your resources. So like Laura Mariana said, like there's a billion things out there to help you. CS does like tutoring. We do tutoring for CS 1 and 2. The SSC also does like tutoring and mentoring. And then if you're like in other classes outside GSIS, like there's a giant tutoring center for like math and science classes. A lot of classes in the beginning will have like TAs as well that you can kind of take advantage of, and recitation sessions. And also like your own peers will be a resource to you. So like when I came in, I had like some programming experience, but not a lot. And there were some kids in my class who like did have a lot of programming experience. They just like chose to took the intro sequence, and they were like a huge help for me because I didn't really like go into professor office hours because it makes me feel dumb. You should not feel that way. Professors are there to help you, by the way, and they like talking to you in office hours. But I would like talk to my peers instead, and they would like always help me through things. So as long as you know when to ask for help and also like keep on top of your assignments and do some time management, it should be fine. It should be good.
To add to that, WiC has, like you said, tutors. I will be a CS 1 and 2 tutor for y'all, so you can see me there to help you, as well as Sam, she's going to be our other outreach head for next year. Are any of you trying to do the accelerated dual degree program? Is it very competitive?
Yeah. But me and Thea are both in BSMS dual degree programs. Speaking for the CSEC department specifically, it is not competitive as long as you have the GPA required, which I believe was a 3.25 when I applied. I'm actually through a scholarship program that, like, if you enroll in this government scholarship, they'll do BSMS for you. So you kind of auto enroll. So it's not competitive in that manner.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the numbers are for CS, but we have the same GPA requirement. And then we also require you to like write an essay about why you want to be in BSMS. I didn't really like have issues getting in. I think it's like there might be a little bit of a cap, but not much because not a lot of people are in this BSMS program right now.
I applied for the dual degree in my third year.
Yeah, same. For us, you have to be in your third year, or at least have third year status, and then you have to also have been on co-op already.
Mm-hmm. Is it possible to get in the honors program the second year?
Yes, you can. I am all for the honors program. So you can either come in as a freshman in the honors program. You would have known by now. If you're not in it and you can maintain a good GPA next year, you'll get reached out to by the honors program. They kind of send like a big email being like, you kind of qualify for the honors program, you should apply. It's called internal admit, and it's like a process in the spring semester, like toward the end of spring semester, like right about now. So it's totally possible. Within Golisano, the honors program is pretty cool because you can apply to get sponsored to go to conferences for up to $1,000. So like I go to conferences twice a year and they just send me sometimes, you write a nice application, you get some money and go to a conference. It's really cool stuff. So definitely look into that if you keep a high GPA and you're interested.
Mm-hmm. So there's a question about, since we can't tour now, what is campus like? Any tips for preparing to move into our dorms? If you are in the WiC After Hours 2020 Slack that we send out invitations to, Lena sent out a link of doing a virtual tour. That's pretty accurate, right? And then, you could check that out to see what campus is like. And any tips for moving into our dorms? I know us you upperclassmen don't really have any, unless you have any good tips when you were a freshman.
Say, can I get something? I'll show them something.
I know I have a good tip. While she's grabbing something, I know I moved in early with the pre-orientation. So if you get really high anxiety around large groups of people moving into one building at the same time, I know it's like extra money, but you'll move in early. There'll be less people moving in at that time. You'll have a really cool program of meeting new people. So if that is something that's within something you're able to do and you do have high anxiety with large groups of people moving in, then I highly recommend that, because you get to move in, I think, on a weekend instead of during the week. I don't know if they've changed that at all, but I know that definitely helped me and my family being able to move and navigate.
Yeah, it's really changed. But Mallory, what are you showing?
So you can buy these at Walmart. They're really large totes. They have wheels on them. You get 2 of them, and they're like the perfect thing to move in with, because you can like keep it in your dorm room to store all your stuff in it that you don't want to look at every day. So I highly, highly recommend 1 or 2 of these giant things. They're super light to carry around. So if you're shopping,
My suggestion with the honors program, I've moved in freshman for the past 4 years. So every year I've been at move-in for the past 5 years. And the key tips for success is label. So when you have all of your stuff together, put your name on it, put your room number on it so it doesn't get lost, because they really do get lost sometimes. So if you're moving into a building that only has 1 elevator, it gets really tricky if you're on a high floor. Most people that are moving you in, the orientation staff, want to take the stairs, and they can't take the stairs if you only bring heavy things that have wheels. So it's just faster to take the stairs most of the time. So if it could be carryable, that would be great. I remember last year I carried 4 bowling balls up the stairs. Honestly, like, we'll carry anything. It's just if it's big and it has wheels, I can't take it up the stairs. So that's my advice.
To add to that, I got these huge duffel bags that fold and like collapse, that has wheels and it has little handles. Highly suggest those. Yeah, our pre-orientation is going to be a bit different. They only get like 1 day early move-in, I think, but it's still early move-in. Keep an eye out for all of that fun stuff. So going on to the next question. Is anyone enrolled into co-ops? How do they work?
We've all had co-ops, if that helps. I don't do semester co-ops as a security student. I'm only on summers. And as long as you go to career fairs and apply online, you should be okay, in my opinion, or conferences. And the school enrolls you in the actual co-op for your transcript. That's about it. I'll move on. I don't want this question.
Go ahead, Mary.
No, okay, so co-ops. I know that semester co-ops are definitely more difficult to try to find, but it's not impossible. A lot of local Rochester companies know about our co-op program, and there's a ton of opportunities in the local Rochester area. I know some of the big companies do have also semester co-ops, like, or they call them like winternships, or like there's a lot of different names for them. But definitely, it's really up to you as to what you do. I know that like we have a pretty great co-op office where I know we get emails all the time from our co-op advisors saying like, hey, there's these opportunities that just like went out, please apply online. If you need any help, like they're always open. I think some of the majors now have co-op required classes having to do with how, like, what to do and like looking at your resume and stuff.
Just to add, so someone just asked what double block co-ops are. Different majors have different co-op requirements. So for CS specifically, we require you to do 1 summer and then 2 semester. And a double block is just when you do 2 like combined. So usually it's like a summer and a fall and then a spring and a summer. Those are double blocks. So for co-ops, what a good thing to stress is that like you find your own co-op. We do not place you in one, which is kind of really stressful because like you're essentially applying to jobs before you even have a degree. We have, like Mariana said, we have a bunch of support services. So another big support thing that we have is that we have a career fair twice a year, one in the spring, one in the fall. Has like 250 plus companies that come in just from all around. And the great thing about being in computing is generally like computing is one of the things that they're looking for, just because like everyone has a website or something to maintain, which is nice. And the way that career fairs actually work is, I guess you all have probably been to like a college fair where like you go up and like try to have a conversation, sell yourself to them. It's kind of like a similar thing where like you'll give in your resume and talk to a recruiter. And if they like you, they'll actually interview, they'll ask you to come back for the next day. That's an interview day. And then like you can actually go through the entire interview process through that, and then you can get a co-op. So that's one of our services. And another one that's pretty popular is Handshake. It's like our own LinkedIn, Indeed kind of resume job posting website that companies like specifically will post jobs for us, and then you can apply through that. And you're going to probably have to apply to like a billion jobs for your first co-op, just because like you don't have any like actual experience yet, but like everyone will eventually get a co-op. Like it might happen later in life. So for CS, like we have this spreadsheet of when you're supposed to go on co-op. You don't pay attention to that spreadsheet. The spreadsheet does not exist. You go whenever. And also like so for, once again, for CS, you could do like research co-ops as well with a professor as long as it's paid. That'll count too. So like there's other options for you. That's my spiel.
Also, so I'm going on co-op this May, and I actually got my co-op through the Affinity Reception, which is like the reverse career fair that WiC does. So I'm working with Carrier in Rochester. So the nice thing about working in Rochester is that you can stay in your on-campus housing. So that's what I did for my first co-op and also this other co-op that I'm doing. You get financial aid. If you get financial aid, they pay for part of your housing. Like some of it applies to housing. So you get a little bit of help that way so you can stay on campus and you don't have to move your stuff.
Yeah. Okay. I will move on to the next question. I'm a prospective transfer student. Do you think the transition into the CS program as a sophomore would be tough? Theo, I think you have the best. Theo or Kathy?
So we have a specific class, CS for transfers, that exists. I think it's also like the CS for AP class is the same one, where it's essentially us like kind of combining some of our intro classes into one semester, trying to make sure that like you're caught up to everything. So in that respect, like we do make sure that like you are on the same level as the rest of us moving forward. It's really more about like how good you are at, kind of making connections quickly. And also just, like I said earlier, taking advantage of your resources if you're having trouble. But I don't think it would be harder as a transfer student coming in. You're going to be at the same level as everyone else after you kind of take that bridge course, just to make sure that you're caught up. And then, like I said, our professors are really helpful. And we have a bunch of other like humans on the CS floor that'll help you out as well.
Yeah. A question was, how's the RIT rink? Are we allowed to skate there after class? I know this one. So, the RIT ice rink, we technically have two ice rinks. We have the Gene Policini and we have the Ritter. You can have free skate. They have free skate there every afternoon from 11:45 to like 12:45, I think, and it's free. But if you want skate rentals, then that costs money. So if you bring your own skates, it's completely free, and it's at Ritter, so you could go there every day. It's Monday through Friday. They have it afternoon free skate. During the weekends, they have different times that cost money to go to those, but then also different different things and activities like different volunteering events or different fundraisers. They have skate nights, like orientation. They have a skate night that you guys go to like Policini to skate, which is cool. And just keep an eye out for those on campus groups. And you can skate there after class, just has to go during open hours.
I think open hours last semester were 12 to 2.
12 to 2. Okay.
Yeah. Sometimes there's evening open skate too on weekdays.
Yeah.
And you could take the wellness class, which is really cool, which my friends have taken, and now they're really good at skating, and I suck. So I recommend it. They teach you how to skate backwards and do cool things.
I'm really excited. I'm taking that next semester. I'm really excited. We have other activities. Does anybody know anything about Red Barn?
There was a follow-up about, is there a lot of people on the rink? I don't know. I don't actually go. I'm not very good.
I went during spring break, and there was a decent amount of people that came because they don't have anything else to do. But like, I would think that afternoon skates are just going to be kind of like the more serious skaters that are practicing like figure skating or hockey stuff. They don't allow like hockey sticks or pucks during free skate, so don't worry about that. Going back on to before with Red Barn, does anybody know anything about Red Barn or anything with like their climbing
Red
stuff?
Barn is open, I think, on the weekends. I'm not sure if it's open every day. I don't remember. I used to go pretty frequently a couple years ago. You do have to pay, I think it's like $7 for like shoe rental, and yeah, there is like a fee, but it's not a lot. If you have your own climbing gear, you're also welcome to just bring that and use that if you're big on that.
Kelsey, don't they also have like you can do it for a whole semester? So like you pay less.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's like I have no idea how much it is, but you can pay for like the whole semester. So you just like you don't pay every time you come if you plan on going like a lot.
Nice. Also to bring up the recreational facilities, the pool, super fun to go to during open swim. Highly recommend, or like just going to the gym. We have a really good gym. If anybody else wanted to talk about that.
Yeah, it's awesome. So our gym has 2 floors to it. Downstairs is the heavy weights, free lifting kind of atmosphere. You usually find all dudes there, but like I've been there. You could be the girl there. Upstairs, you find like the machines and treadmills and bikes and like mats that you can do ab exercises on. And then, so on the other side of the house, there's the pool, hot tub, and I think it's a lazy river. I haven't been there since freshman year, to be honest. But it's really fun. And then there's the basketball courts. There's 5 basketball courts. You can set up volleyball. You can set up ping pong. You can set up badminton, pickleball. The first court number 1, is always for pickup basketball if you're interested. And then the other courts are going to be used for intramurals throughout like the weekdays, evenings, but you can also rent space. I rent space with my friends to play basketball and volleyball and soccer and stuff. So that's really cool. And then upstairs of the actual basketball courts is an indoor raised track. So it's 1/8 of a mile instead of 1/4, but it's still a lap. It kind of feels like really high up, but you get a view of all the basketball courts. So I think that's pretty cool. And then there's 2 racquetball courts. I've never used them for racquetball. I use them for cornhole, which I think is also kind of interesting, that we can play cornhole indoors. So, yeah.
If you like tennis, there's also tennis courts outside during the spring. Moving out, what's the Slack? For those of you who don't know, we have a Slack channel for all incoming and prospective students for you to get to know each other and talk. Emily's setting up like questions of the week, and then we could start doing, I know I started like with doing virtual movie nights where we can all hang out together. We can even do like jackpot games together and just kind of get to know each other and have a blast together. And if you have any more questions, we have a question channel with a ton of volunteers that can answer your questions for you. The link I gave the link there if you haven't joined yet.
Please join your major channel, because the computing security one only has 2 prospective students and 3 current students, and we want to hang out. So get to know you. We're pretty cool.
Yeah.
If you're computer exploration, feel free to just join all of them too. I feel like that's okay.
There's also a computer exploration one. So if you have questions for specifically computer exploration students, we had a couple people who were computer explorations that are moving on now. How do immersions work? Can a minor also count as an immersion? Can you have multiple immersions?
Yes.
Yes.
I did my immersion in history, and for a history minor, you only need 5 classes, and immersion is 3 classes. So I just changed it into a minor. It's not really that big a deal as long as you have space in your schedule to take whatever you want. I'm not sure about multiple immersions. I haven't really looked into that.
I don't think
You,
you can have multiple.
you don't do multiple immersions. You could have multiple minors, but I would say when you're choosing your immersion, you can choose something really like just generic, or you can find one of the kind of niche ones like museum studies or something. And it is easy to change it into a minor as long as a minor is offered. It's just 2 more classes, and everyone's schedule should have free electives in them. You can choose to use your free electives for that or build on top of your classes if you have the time.
Just to clarify what an immersion is, it's like a mini minor essentially that is required for everyone to take. So like minors aren't required for your degree, but like an immersion in something other than what your degree is required. So that's why like when we keep on saying like the minors 2 more classes, it's because a lot of people will choose to like take 2 more classes to turn their immersion into a minor.
Yeah, one thing to note is that like if you're doing specifically a language immersion like I did, I was able to test out of the beginning classes because of my high school experience, and because I started in intermediate Italian 2, there was no possible way for me to turn that into a minor because of the fact that there was only I could only take intermediate 2, advanced 1, advanced 2 never runs, and only 1 cultural class is really allowed for those language minors, I believe 1 or 2. So for me, there was no possible way to turn that in. So if you are looking for like a language immersion and you do want to switch it into a minor, be careful with that perspective.
For the follow-up question, can you have a software engineering minor if you have a different major? Yes, you can have a minor within Golisano. So as a security student, I almost did a minor in CS or software engineer, and that would have been fine. You cannot have an immersion within your college. Immersion is outside, minors can be wherever.
Moving on. Have any of you been in computing exploration? If so, how was it? And is it possible to explore other majors while in it? Were any of you in it?
No.
No. If you have that question, go to the Slack. The Slack is linked if you just scroll and see my name with the link, and ask Ella. Yeah. Ask questions about it in there. It is possible to explore other majors. There's a specific amount. You cannot do GDD, I don't think, with that, right?
Yeah, I don't believe so.
So
But they'll put you in certain classes for your freshman year to try all the majors. Like, that's the point.
yeah. Please follow up with that on the Slack, because we have other people who aren't in this call that can answer that question for you.
Theo, can you say what immersion versus minor is again for the crowd?
Oh, yeah, sure. So an immersion is something that is required for everyone, and it's only 3 classes, and it can't be within your college. So I'm in CS, I can't do an immersion in SE. I could be tricky and I can like do an immersion in computational math because that's technically outside the college. But I can't do anything within CS. A minor is 5 classes and like it can be from wherever. It really doesn't matter. But the reason that the 2 are usually linked is because people will do the 3 classes in their immersion. If they like it enough, they'll just tack on 2 more, and then that also will count as a minor for them. Mm-hmm. Hopefully that makes sense, Adrian.
What gen ed courses did you guys take first year, and how were they to juggle with your CS courses?
That was a long time ago. Hold on.
Does Emily or Mallory answer that?
Yeah, okay. So I think my first year I took I came in with a lot of like transfer credits from like high school, so I got a lot of those out of the way. But I basically took 2 history classes, and those are a lot of fun because it wasn't a lot of work. They don't expect you to like, it's not supposed to be a lot of work because they're just like gen eds, and they're usually like level 100 classes. So I personally found it pretty easy and like super refreshing to not like look at a computer and just like learn about history. So I didn't think that they were too bad.
Yeah, I would agree with that. They're just supposed to broaden your horizon. It's not like you're going to dive deep into a new topic. So, yeah, no, I think you'll be okay. I actually spread out my general perspectives throughout college so that I wasn't taking them all freshman year because they're not for me. I'm a very tech oriented person. So I didn't want to take more than one gen ed at a time.
The CS department actually suggests that you kind of do that only because we don't think that you should be doing more than like 3 CS classes, or probably any programming classes for that matter, at the same time, because it gets to be a lot. Because as you go up, like there's more projects and projects take a lot of time. So it's nice to have like a palate cleanser of like 2 unrelated classes along with your other programming classes as well.
Yeah, the question came up, how do you spread it out? If you look at your flow chart for your major, it'll tell you kind of like when you take your perspective classes, at least the security one does. And I pretty much followed that for the perspectives.
And your advisor chooses your classes for you first year, and they know what's like a good balance for everything. So trust in your advisor, and if you don't like the class, you can drop it during add drop week and add new classes. I did that, and that was great.
Yeah.
Any other things to add into that?
I think just in general, if you take a liberal arts class, like anything from the College of Liberal Arts, most of the professors there are pretty lenient, and they understand like you're not here as an English major or history major or whatever it is. So they don't give you that much work, like they understand pretty well.
Yeah. How is the theater music groups? Are they competitive? There was also a question about like if there's places to practice music instruments whenever you want. Going into that, with musical instruments practice, they have different practice rooms, and also there's like pianos all over, and like if nobody's there, you can go for it. That's what we do. And if you go on the Reddit page and then search up like piano and like music rooms, there's a post about it with a person listing out all of the different pianos and practice rooms, and it was beautiful with like ratings of how each piano works. So if you're interested in that, highly recommend looking it up. Going into is anybody in theater or music groups? Are they competitive? Anybody know that?
I know I've heard of a few people like going into like improv club. I know that's a thing. There's a group on campus that always does Rocky Horror Picture Show every single year, I think. I know I can talk about it from like the dance club perspective because I did that my freshman year. There's a few dance clubs on campus, which I know is not quite musical theater, but definitely in a similar vein. As far as I know, it's just you can kind of join. I know for some of the dance ones, if they have like end of the year or end of the semester like recitals, you kind of have to join early. Not sure about the other more like Tory dance groups, but I know that like swing club I hear is like was very popular with some of my friends, and you can kind of just show up any week and then you can just do a swing.
To look at all the different clubs and groups, definitely go to the club fair and go check them out because that's where every club goes to like promote themselves, and they'll give out all the times and dates, and you can sign up for them. Sign up for them all if you're interested, and just if you're not and you can't go, it's okay. Don't worry about it. It's better for you to have the information first before you just decide not to do it at all. I don't think that they're competitive. I think like pep band is just like a sign up, right?
Pep band is sign up. kind of.
Game Symphony Orchestra, you just have to go to the practices. I don't think they're very competitive unless it's like serious. So like if you're actually doing like the concert stuff, then I think you have to do a audition for it.
For pep band, if you want to actually play at the hockey games, you do have to go to a certain amount of practices before they will allow you, though, right?
I don't know. Okay, moving on from music stuff. Can you talk about some CS related clubs on campus and what they are like? You want to talk about SSE?
Sure, I can talk about the SSE. So for software engineering and for the entire college, we have the Society of Software Engineers. We're an academic-based organization with a huge focus in mentoring. When you go into Golisano, you will see us on the first floor, kind of there, right in the front. We have a mentoring desk. We have mentoring 10 to 6, Monday through Friday. You can tell I've kind of figured this out. I'm current mentoring head of the organization. We always have at least one mentor there between those hours, and they're basically there to help you with just any freshman classes. Like I've seen a lot of these asking like questions about like random stuff, and I know that I've seen a lot of freshmen come in and out, and I know that we have us up, and then upstairs the CS Tutoring Center. CS Tutoring Center is less of a club, but more definitely an academic place to get help. I know for us, we have like social groups, like in the past we've done like laser tagging, we've done a freshman scavenger hunt on campus and stuff like that. But I know that a lot of these clubs that especially look major specific aren't necessarily locked down to that major. Like I know Laura could probably talk about RITSec in that matter.
Yeah. So RITSec is the Computer Security Club on campus. And there's plenty of other majors that come to those meetings because who doesn't want to hack something, learn to hack. But we do get a lot of like IST or networking majors that we eventually switch over to our major, of course. But we're a club that meets every Friday for 4 hours, 12 to 4. And you can check it out at ritsec.club as the website. It's a great learning environment. No matter what club you join, honestly, within Golisano, if you're passionate, go for it. You could show up to the AI club meeting. You can show up to the game developers meeting. You don't have to be in the major. It's just an interest that you might have. Meet some people outside your major. It's really cool.
Golisano also does a Jesus club fair specifically for Jesus. So if you're interested in learning about all the clubs, usually all the clubs attend that one as well on top of the club fair. So that's a great way for it to be specifically CS related clubs. Yeah. Let's go on to women in computing questions. What do you do in women in computing? Primary events. How do you become it's not executive, it's active. Mal, Emily, do you want to take that over? Or Laura or anybody?
I can go for it if you want. So Women in Computing is an inclusive organization, not a club technically, organization, because it's run by Golisano as a whole, not a specific major. Really, we're there to build a community. It's a professional organization, so you learn through company visits, you learn through professional activities such as the affinity reception, the career fair stuff. So primary events, if you check out the website, wic.rit.edu, pretty awesome. A student in the organization made it. Their position was webmaster. And if you're interested in web design, you can follow after them. Join them, help them out. The events, so you have WiC Hacks, which is a major event for us. That's usually in February-ish, March. And it's a 24-hour hackathon of females' identity as, it's been a while since I've done this, identify as female or non-binary, but anyone can volunteer. And you don't need that much programming experience. It used to be open to high schoolers. Like, it's really awesome. You just kind of sit down, meet some people, code, learn, and there's companies that go to help you. Outreach, which is what this technically is, That's what these lovely girls are here for. Set this up, and I can speak for you or you can, but they put on K through 12 activities. So you have like Girl Scouts that come in from all different years, like 3rd grade, 6th grade, 8th grade. You have the local hackathon, which we put on for high schoolers. And honestly, so like we put on all these different events, and it's really to get the community outside of RIT involved. And it puts you in a great opportunity to teach and show your passion, and it kind of like bring on the next students into the community. And a lot of those students actually do come to RIT, which is really cool. When we used to have like the WiC hacks open to high schoolers, like they came to RIT the next year or two. And they were like, wow, it's so cool. And now I get to like contribute. So it's this nice community that we have. There's public relations, which is what I used to be on and run. And that handles social media presence, and WiC Connects, which is like a dinner. It's turning into brunch, I hear, but we'll see. It used to be in the spring, might move to the fall, but that's a way to connect between students, faculty, and hopefully alumni over like a nice professional meal. So once again, we're bringing that professional setting into the students. And then there's a lot of committees. We have the Allies Committee, to yeah, Jackie's here. The Allies Committee, trying to make Golisano more welcoming to the diverse group as a whole within the computing field. So there's just so much you can do within women in computing, but we have the general meetings every Wednesday for an hour, and that's when companies come, that's when social activities happen. We have Bob Ross paint night and food and holiday parties, and it's just so much fun to be a part of. Lots of friends have been made. Sometimes when I go to hockey games, I sit in corner crew and I look over and I see Mallory and a bunch of other WiC girls, and it makes me really excited to see people WiC friends hanging out outside of WiC. So it's just really cool. Being an active member means that you come to general meetings as well as at least one of the committees, and contributing in some way of that shape or form. And then once you're an active member, you can start participating in, you get more of a shot at participating at conferences, like the Grace Hopper Conference. Women in Computing sends a lot of students to it. It's really awesome, and that's how a lot of the upperclassmen in WiC have gotten really great co-ops. I got my co-op offer there sophomore year, and it was awesome because they're like, all the companies go and they're like, oh my God, there's so many females in tech, like I want to hire you. So it's really cool to be part of. As active at the end of the year for your years of service, you also get swag. So you get to show it off your first year, you get a jacket. It's a nice professional jacket. Show it off, Jackie. So it's a gray zip up that I put on over my professional outfit, my business casual, wear it to the affinity reception, wear it to career fair, especially if you don't have a blazer your first few years. After that, you get like a padfolio, which you carry around a notepad and a resume with. There you go. Wow, we're so prepared. So there's just so many opportunities within WiC, and it's really awesome to be part of it. So if you have follow-up questions, feel free. I just rambled a lot. So I love it. I've been part of WiC for 5 years. I came on and WiC was 2 or 3 years old. So it's growing. It's growing a lot. The female percentage in Golisano has grown. Hopefully you all come and help make it grow too. Be active within Golisano. I started in public relations, we're 3 people. So the committee, and now we're like 10, 12, 15, whatever shows up, but we really are growing, and it's an awesome community. Sorry for rambling if anyone else wants to.
So requirement-wise, for general membership, you have to attend half of our general meetings and go to one and volunteer, at least go to one social event and one volunteer event, or 2 volunteer events. We changed it up. You could read our constitution at our website. I put a lot of work into that to see that. And active membership, just you are a general member, and on top of that, you attend at least half of a committee's meetings, which is different from outside. Yeah. I'm lost with the amount of questions we have.
I love it. Keep the questions coming.
Great. I do not know about a women's ultimate frisbee team. Do you? Okay, cool.
Yeah, so women's ultimate frisbee team, it's not varsity level, it's club level, which boys and girls equally. They're both club level teams, which is cool. I don't remember what they're called, but I know that the boys one is called Spuds, and they wear potatoes, like potato head is like their logo on their shirt, and I think the women's team is like the somewhat equivalent to that, and I think it's really funny. It's a cool community to be part of. Club sports, like this ultimate frisbee team, they practice for 2 hours a week, which is very different from maybe high school or even a varsity sport at college level. You practice for 2 hours a week, and then you go to tournaments with other colleges. So if you're into ultimate frisbee, it's fun. Or you could play intramurals, which is what I did, which is just 1 hour a week, and it's within RIT.
Okay, another question. At the job fair, what did you put on your resume? Did you put high school achievements and clubs? Yes. When you're a freshman, you want to fill up that resume. Anybody else have any tips for resumes?
I wouldn't worry about it right now. There's a lot of Mallory's face. There's a lot of resources once you're actually here with even WiC or different organizations, clubs that are going to help you make your resume. Freshman year, yes, you're going to put some high school achievements, put your high school, put your GPA if you want, put any awards that you won, any projects that you've done, but you want to keep it related to what you're trying to go for. So like, otherwise you'd put it at the bottom and be like, I was on like me, varsity softball, I was on this team or that team, like that you could totally still use. But I wouldn't put it in like your main block because you're really trying to get a job related to computers.
I do think that the one high school achievement that does go past your freshman year, I believe is if you get the gold award, because that's actually something that like I know employers, like if they got the gold award, or like, you know, how like the equivalent is like the Eagle Scout. I think that's the one high school achievement that I know definitely goes past high school related, because because that's such a high, like it takes years and years and years of commitment. I know a lot of people still like to see that after your freshman year. A lot of other things, I think it's definitely a case by case basis, but I think that one I know for sure is definitely keep on there for as long as you want.
Mm-hmm. We will offer resume reviews and everything. There's so many resources to get your resume reviewed. SSE holds it, we hold it. Everybody is there, welcome to help you with resumes. So everybody's kind of like on an individual basis, and we try to give it more personalized with that before the career fair begins. Yeah. So another question is, does RIT expect CS first year students to have prior experience in CS? No.
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 No, we do not.
No.
I kind of already answered the question in the chat, but like,
yeah.
No, obviously not. We structure our courses specifically so that a person who's never seen a lick of code in their life will be able to excel and do perfectly fine. There's an ambassador right now who, like, every time he gets asked this question, he like makes such a face of disgust about like the thought of needing to know CS things beforehand. You'll be fine.
Yeah. Is it common for the company you co-op with to eventually hire you? How difficult is it to get a co-op?
Yes. But I'm going to have Mariana go because I feel like
Mariana.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it really depends on the company. I know a lot of companies consider the internship / co-op experience as like an extended interview. I know a lot of like the big tech companies really do that way. I know Microsoft specifically does kind of expect to hire you at least as another intern or full time. I think Google has a few different rules around what they do, but it's very, very common. I know Theo did it this way, right?
Yeah,
Having
Intuit, like after my internship, my manager would like give a recommendation, yes or no, if they should extend a full time to me or not. And they give you like a lot of time to consider their offer. They gave me until like November, and I was done with them in July because they wanted me to look around just to like make sure I would be happy staying with Intuit, and I was. So I signed it.
But yeah, as far as I can tell, a lot of the companies do want to continue hiring you. I know, I don't know what the percentage is, but I do know a lot of people who came uh, in August or September of our final year saying like, hey, yeah, I have a job offer, or I have until November to decide if I want to continue with the company that I just co-opt at or interned at. But as far as I can know, it is very common for them to either do that or at least talk to you about potential opportunities.
When can you apply for co-ops? Summer is usually like end of summer is when you want to apply for next summer, and it kind of falls like between that, right? Like the semester before, half a year before, right?
Yeah, that's like the earliest.
Yeah.
Like, if you're looking for summer, I would start applying in the fall, like October-ish. That's how I've kind of worked. Um, but as a freshman, there's plenty of freshmen within the security community that do go out and co-op their first year. It's not required by any means. And they can start applying in the fall. If you don't come in with like prior knowledge, it's definitely harder, but not impossible. But it most likely will end up in the spring, just even like interview wise, just because the companies are going to want to see what you learned in CS1.
I specifically know like big companies, Microsoft, they opened their applications for the Explore like July this year, which was super, super early. I know it's crazy. Look definitely in the fall, early summer, start looking now, because they're just starting to do it earlier and earlier, and it's a bit stressful, but I believe in all of you, and I think you can all do it. They understand you're a first year and you don't have much experience before if you're interested in doing an internship between.
Yeah, so I would say there are the bigger tech companies that come to your mind, they do put on these programs for freshmen and sophomores specifically. That's what Jackie mentioned with Microsoft Explorer. So Google and other companies do that as well. But there's smaller companies that will look to hire you to locally on the East Coast or anything. So not impossible, but I could say a perk of WiC is our company visits. So if you come to the general meetings, there are companies that come and speak, and they do want to hire you. They want your resume. They want to look at you, talk to you. So come in with an open mind. That's my advice.
Anybody else have anything else to add to that? We're getting a lot of questions. It's like almost an hour. Is it okay if everybody wants to extend a little longer?
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
free.
Okay, cool. When do we get our schedules? You have to ask your advisor, right?
So I think you might be able to see them online, like maybe like a week or two before like you actually get to college. I think I might have, but like once you get there, you get to orientation, they'll actually hand it to you and they'll go over it with you. So then you'll get it then.
Then going to question 4. What was the hardest class you took first year, and what was your favorite or easiest class you took first year?
I can say my hardest class was a physics class. I came in with AP credit and they were like, let's just throw you into the next level of physics. And I was very unprepared for that. But it was a learning experience. That was definitely the hardest class for me. University physics here is decently hard. Most, if not all, of Golisano programs have now switched off of university physics. It is not required. You can choose it as your science elective. But that was definitely my hardest. My favorite or easiest class I took my freshman year, probably CSEC 101, just because it was the first glimpse at security that I really had, and it was really cool. Because otherwise I'm just taking like basic CS, the CS classes and networking classes, and like that was the first major class I had.
Anybody else? I feel like CS 1 and 2, those are pretty hard classes.
Yeah.
Definitely one of the harder classes, but there's so much support out there for you all that you can do well. Anyone else have anything to add to that? Yes, no? Is it possible to minor in finance being a Golisano computing major?
Yes.
Yeah.
You can minor in whatever you want.
Does WiC partner with any other groups for events throughout the semester? Yes, we do. With Allies specifically, they were working on doing like a game night with Electronic Gaming Society, or like a gaming competition too. That was supposed to be fun, but they got canceled because of Corona. We're trying to do and partner with different clubs within Golisano and increase inclusion and diversity. How easy is it to balance a job and classes? I know Mariana, you already answered that.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I guess for those who aren't looking at the chat, my roommate has done 20 hours a week since I've known her, and I've known her for 3 years, and she still manages to have a social life, do this and do that. Like, she's thriving. She works as a post office on campus, as well as a labbie. And for those of you who don't know, being a labbie, it means that you can you basically are in charge of like the labs on campus. I know a lot of majors have their own labs that you're in charge of. A lot of the time you can do your homework for most of it, and mostly just ask questions and make sure boards are like erased and stuff. So it's 100% possible to have a balance in classes. TAing classes also work there. If you don't have stuff to grade, you can do homework during those as well. But it's 100% possible to do it and still get money and pay your rent and do whatever you need to do.
On Handshake, you'll get invites and see Handshake. They have the part-time job listings on campus as well, so you can apply through there for that. There's nobody from web and mobile right now that can talk about anything, but if you join the Slack and go to the web and mobile computing channel, you can talk to them about their experiences that they've had. What is work study like at RIT? That kind of answers. It's like working while having a part-time job. Does anybody else have anything with like having a part-time job while studying?
I think the students specifically asking, like, there's a specific work study section usually of grants and applications and things. I would talk to your advisor about that. I don't know specifically how to apply or how to do any of that. I don't know if anyone here is familiar with work study.
Isn't
I know
it
that you can.
with financial aid package?
Yes, it's part of your financial aid package.
So you can't really apply for it, can you?
I think you can.
You like enroll in it, I think.
Oh,
Highly recommend talking to your advisor about that.
Yeah.
or financial aid advisor.
Yeah.
Can you apply for an on-campus job your first year? Yes, they need as much help as possible all over campus.
Highly recommend getting a job.
If you have get an email asking you to be a note taker in the class, highly recommend you get
Yes.
on board for that.
Do that in like reply in like 30 seconds because that will fill up very fast. And once you get in once, they'll keep sending you emails to like, they'll reach out to you from there. So get in there as soon as possible.
That's probably the best job just because you get paid to attend class pretty much and take good notes.
Mm-hmm.
When can we talk to our advisors? Anytime?
Email them now, I guess, if you really want to. Just Google them.
I would highly recommend, if you can't find them online, in your major specific part of the Slack, we can figure out who your advisors are based on your last name, and we can probably give you their emails.
Yeah. I talked to my advisor like a lot before. Before I went to RIT, it was great. We had meetings and calls, and it was fun. They will reach out to you in the summer with your like courses and stuff, but if you have questions now, you have to reach out to them first.
Also, once you know that you want to come here, please make sure you get your transfer credit if applicable to them and like your AP scores. Just because like I forgot to do that and then I got my schedule and I was in some math classes I should have tested out of. So I had to like get that to her 3 days before school started. So don't be like me.
Math placement exam. Do y'all remember that?
I do remember it because you know what? They put it on your transcript forever. Just a heads up for anyone that cares. I can be obnoxious and brag and said I got 100 on it, but so it's really cool. I don't think that you should really prepare for the math placement exam.
No.
I'm going to be honest. You shouldn't be studying for it. It's kind of what you know. It'll talk about some geometry, a lot of algebra, like a lot of algebra is what I remember. What is the math placement exam? RIT will send you a link to take a test, and based off of this math test, I don't remember how many questions it is, but based off of this math test, they'll decide which math class you're really ready to be in. So there's like a difference between Calc 1 and 2 versus Calc A, B, and C. So like learning the material in 2 semesters versus 3 semesters. That's kind of how this is all judged. Or if you do really well and you come in with AP credits, you kind of bypass both of those and you jump into multivariable if you really want, which most people don't do in Golisano. But I wouldn't study. I don't remember if a calculator was allowed or not, but I suggest it.
Yeah, as well.
Yeah, like, you probably should use one if you can.
If you already took your Calc AP exam and know you got a 4 or 5, then I would definitely not worry about it as much because
I don't think they took their APs yet. I think that's
well, I mean, sometimes you can take it as a junior, depending on how far you are in math. I don't know. But yeah.
Who took it? Congrats. Proud of you.
Yeah, basically, if you got a 4 or 5, then I would definitely not worry about the math placement exam because I think AP trumps anything that has to do with your thing.
AP and dual credit. So if you did community college classes, they do trump it. So
Yeah. I got like CLEP credit and like it didn't transfer as calculus credit, but it transferred as some other like weird math credit that I guess I don't have to take anymore. So mine transferred really weirdly.
Is there core curriculum general education requirements? Yes.
Perspectives.
Yeah.
It's like ethics, social, artistic,
Global.
Those are the 4.
Okay. Any other questions? Did I get everybody's questions?
That's it for the chat. Feel free to ask more questions. We honestly, like, upperclassmen are here because we love it.
Yeah. And a lot of these guys are graduating seniors, so you'll never get to meet them. Yeah. Slack question. So, hold on. I'll share my screen and show y'all how to add them. So, you're on this great Slack. Woo! Yay! Oh, okay. So, now you go to channels and you go to add and you go to browse channels. You guys shouldn't get the option to create channels. Please don't create one without us knowing. And then there's all these different channels like computer science, computer security, computer exploration, cooking, just incoming students. If you're just incoming students, we have a channel for you that's just for you with like no volunteers or anybody, so you can go at it. I invite you and I just turn off notifications for that. Roommates, virtual movie night, and you guys can't join volunteers. So that's how you add channels. So let's say I wanted to join computer science. I go and click on that, and then I click on that. Whoop. If it'll let me. It's really slow. Am I in it?
Are you on the left? I don't see it.
Oh, so it's on the left here, and then you could preview it and see what people have been saying, or you can just join it. Let's say I did it. I joined it. Yeah, I'm in security. Woo! But then I don't need to be here anymore. So then I go to more, and I would leave it. Sorry. Bye. In general, if you go to our pinned stuff, Mallory created this great PDF of what is Slack and how to use it. So you can see all of these different things, and it is pinned. So it's in our general. And yeah, let's see, stop share. Any other questions? Would you be able to send the Slack link again? I can. What other clubs are y'all participated in?
I love clubs. So I participated freshman year, how I said, in juggling club. Wild. Suggest it. You can learn how to juggle. I learned how to juggle bowling pins. Really feel like just a clown act. But WiC and RITSEC are most of my life, but I was part of the varsity softball team for 4 years. I played on 4 intramural teams throughout college: volleyball, basketball, ultimate frisbee, and soccer. And those are all just 1 hour a week commitments with a bunch of friends, blow off some steam and stress. And the honors program, these technically aren't clubs, but I consider them extracurriculars. So yeah, that's about it for me. That's my life in a nutshell.
Anybody else?
I know for me, it's mostly just been the only 2 organizations I've really been a part of is WiC and then Society of Software Engineers, because both of them are social and academic, and so I feel like, hey, that kind of like hits both kind of things I'm looking for. But I did do Viz Viva, which was the dance company in my freshman year. But then I felt like it was just too much of commitment, and dance wasn't quite where it used to be for me. So I was like, I just was like, I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah, I'm in WiC and the CS ambassadors. So if I look familiar, it's because I usually do tours, and I was in the webinar today, and also in the CS videos that are now on the website. Haven't seen them yet, but it's gonna be great. So definitely check those out. But I like tried out a bunch of things when I was a freshman, like Latin dance club, but it was like kind of a lot of time commitment to like regularly go to something. WiC was like something kind of flexible where like if you only want to go to general meetings, you can just like only go to general meetings. You don't have to go to like a committee meeting frequently. And then ambassadors is like I get paid one, and then it's like only open houses, which isn't really frequent, but it's still a lot of fun. I like talking to new students.
Anybody else? What is the best dorm building?
If you want to feel good for the first 2 months of the year, then you want an air conditioning building. Most of them are not, but it really is only the first like 2 months of school, so you'll survive. If you don't have air conditioning, you open the window, have some fans. I'm biased. I was in the honors dorm, which is definitely not physically the best dorm building, but it was a really great community to be part of. Hopefully Mariana feels that way about it.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I really liked it because it was a very short building, so it didn't have to walk up too many stairs, and did never use the elevator because there was no point.
Yeah, I would say NRH is a really popular one. Like people are just excited to be in NRH because there's the special interest housing in it, and there's always something, and then like something going on there. And then there's Ellingson, which is the hard of hearing enabled building. But some dorms have like suites, and I've never actually been in one, but I hear they're pretty cool. So. Does anyone know what CS housing is like? I know that they have a soda machine, and it's pretty cool.
So I was there as an on-floor member for like my first half of a semester, but then they require a lot of time commitment that I didn't really want to do. And so I ended up moving off and not being a part of it, but it's just dependent on you and how you take it. If you like it, then you should join it. and see what it's like. They're in NRH. It's air conditioned. Great time. They have a lot of cool different like places to like hang out inside on their floor.
I just want to be clear that CS housing is not like CS majors have to be in housing.
Yeah.
It's one of the special interest housing. So like if you're really passionate and want to make stuff and hang out with like-minded people, you can live on floor, be a member, and take part in CSH, Computer Science House.
Yeah, it's how you apply for it is through when you do housing, right? And like there's like a thing to apply for it, and usually they do interviews as well if you pass the application portion, and you have to be accepted in.
Interesting. I had a random roommate my freshman year. It worked fine.
Yeah.
Same. I loved my random roommate. She would like, I would be watching Scrubs and she would like watch it over my shoulder, and that's how we bonded. It was a great time.
Mine was an art student, so it was like cool to have another perspective on
Yeah,
art.
mine was a photography student, and she would like be talking to her parents, and she's like, yeah, she's like just writing turtle dot, and then her computer draws things. It's crazy. I'm like, wow, great summary of CS1.
When do we do housing stuff? I believe it's in July now because you guys have your deposits not due until June 1st. So they pushed out housing to be later. You have to, what you can do is you can look it up like RIT housing, and then you can look up when that stuff is for the dates. What meal plan do you recommend for first year?
The smallest Gracie's one. I think it's Tiger 10.
Yep.
That is by far the best one to be on.
It's the only one. Don't pick anything else.
It's kind of a mistake if you pick anything else.
You can change it when you get there, but like don't pick anything else. Just Tiger 10. That's it.
The reason why we all say that is because Tiger 10 has the most amount of swipes and the least amount of times you have to eat at Gracie's. Gracie's is our dining hall, and people, you get tired of it really fast, and also you get the most amount of debit, so you can use the dining dollars anywhere around campus, and that's really nice. Anybody else have anything else to say about that, Tiger 10?
Tiger 10 is the way to go.
Yeah. How do you become an ambassador? I think that's for Theo.
Okay. Yeah. So Susan is our student services lady. She oversees us. She generally gets the ambassadors like from the OL program. But like if you come into CS and you're really vibing with it, you can just like talk to her and be like, hey, I'm kind of interested in becoming an ambassador. And she'll probably just like let you come on in. When we had our old person who oversaw us, he did like an interview process, but like I don't think Susan does one. She just like wants as many of us as possible, because we have all different schedules, and she likes us sitting in on like student meetings with prospective students. So it's like better to have a lot of people. So yeah, please join us because I'm leaving and a bunch of other people are leaving this semester. So Susan's really sad. And you get paid, and you get a sick polo and a jacket. Just saying.
CSEC, I think we just get polos or a t-shirt, but I was always like an informal one. So I would get the t-shirt, but I wouldn't get paid because I just like to be there. But as long like if you're active or you're interested, like you can ask to become one, or like the advisors will reach out to you and be like, we hear you're active. You want to like come speak to high schoolers? So.
Mallory put in a link for like housing info for freshmen. If you all want to go to the chat and see that, really helpful. Do we have any other questions before we wrap up? A little bit. Please feel free to reach out to any of us in the Slack. We love hearing all of you and answering questions. We love our upperclassmen and our seniors. We're gonna miss you all. And yeah, please feel free to reach out. And if you have any questions, ask them in the Slack. This recording will be up on YouTube, on our YouTube page, which you can check out and see our other Q&As. And yeah, it will be up in a little bit after it gets downloaded and everything. So yeah. Thank you all.
I'm excited for all of you to experience RIT.
Yes, we're really excited for you to be here. We can't wait to see you on campus. Bye!